Welcome to Legacy Talks. My name is Rosemin, and I'm so thrilled to be your host for this video series. I get to interview incredible women from around the globe. We talk about their careers, we talk about how they grew up, failures, highlights, success stories, and so much more. And I hope that each time you watch a video story from us, that you are truly inspired the way I am. Today is very special because I get to interview the CEO of Christy. It's a brand that you know and you've probably seen, whether it is using a towel in your home from a hotel or just beautiful bedding and even Wimbledon. She is a dynamic woman and straight from India. She's here in Dubai with us. Vanshika Goenka Mishra, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I am so happy you're here because we have so much to talk about. You are a woman who has spotted a heritage brand, ready to revamp it, which is so exciting, and it's a challenge in itself. But you come from a huge business family, and I think that holds a lot of weight. What was it like growing up?
Honestly, I think a lot of times, both my parents are in the business. So my mom started working when I was 9. And my sister was 12. My dad's been working since he was 18.
Amazing.
So really family business. And I think for me, while growing up, what was interesting was like all the conversations at the dinner table was somewhat linked to work, right? Like my parents are talking about something, I'm asking questions, I'm learning. And also I remember like after school, I would go to my mom's office and sit outside, wait for her and be like, Mom, this is what my day was like. This is what I got on my homework or, on my test. I would also do a lot of my projects sitting in the office. So when I say I grew up at work or grew up in our factories, I think I literally grew up on those floors. So it's been a part of who I am.
Well, two things really just come out from that initial story that you said. First of all, it's 2 sisters, so 2 daughters, no boys in the family.
No boy.
No boys in the family. And I love that your mom was working as well in the business. I mean, it's very similar to my parents. Like, I actually look back and actually take it for granted because I'm like, look at my mom and I'm like, how did you do it? Like, juggle 3 kids, building the family business with my dad, and somehow they just never complain. They just do it so effortlessly.
So effortlessly.
So I love the idea that you were always, it was such an open communication in your home. It seems like your family is very, very close. What are some of the conversations that happened at the table? Like, what were some of the lessons learned that you kind of observed and, your parents really instilled in you?
I think some of the lessons that I learned really early on was about failure. So I think, every time there would be a problem or, there would be a big issue at work, I would hear my father saying, it's fine. It's okay. We'll fail today, but we'll learn something out of it. We're going to fail forward. We're going to take a lesson and we'll grow. What's the worst that can happen? So I think that was one major lesson that I learned on the dinner table. And I think the second one that I learned from my mom was the importance of empathy. Like, I think as a woman leader, when I see her leading the teams, I see her doing it with so much care and empathy, and how it's so different from like when you're in a complete man's world and men are running teams. And I think people connect more, and I think you're only as good as your team. So I think that is so important.
I think that's so true. And I think women just naturally have empathy, and they understand emotion, and they understand balance.
Yes.
And multitasking. I don't know if men can do that well. I think with women it comes very, very naturally. So I love that you've picked that up. So you grew up in India, you take the leap to Brown University in the US, so you go to the US. How was that experience?
I mean, I loved Brown. I think I always say this was the best 4 years of my life. I think Brown gave me a lot of freedom, a new perspective, different cultures, different people. I think Brown was amazing. It opened a lot of doors for me, and Brown allows you to be very creative. You can design your own major if you want. But I think all in all, I loved that experience.
And you didn't want to stay in the States?
I did for a year.
Yeah.
So I stayed there for a year. I worked with a textile startup, which was into augmented reality.
Amazing.
And then I came back to India because I think I wanted to do something at work with my parents and their business. So that's when I came back.
And so you've always been in textile?
I did do my own startup in the middle, but I've always been drawn to textiles. Yes.
And how did Christy come about? Because Christy is such a heritage brand. For me, like, it's literally like we just have it in our homes, and you kind of take it for granted, these brands, but they have so much history. Tell us what Christy invented, really? I want you to tell that
So,
story.
I mean, it's a 175-year-old brand. It started when Henry Christy, back in the day, went to Turkey. He used to travel the world. He was a world traveler in the 1850s, because that's what I think the British did at that time.
Yeah.
And he used to go and collect artifacts. And he found this looped terry fabric in Constantinople, modern-day Turkey, olden-day Turkey.
Yeah.
And then he took it back to Manchester. And him and his brother, using machines for the first time, created the towel.
Because the towel was originally handmade.
So Turkish ladies used to like loop, like stitch.
Yeah, and they're still known for their
Yeah.
textile.
So I think that's where Christy started. And since then, Queen Victoria has been a customer for us. We are on Centre Court every year.
Which is amazing at Wimbledon.
Yeah, so this brand has so much history.
And what drew you to it, to really take the helm of it? And what did you see that you could bring with your experience from the family business to your education to really transform this brand? What was that aha moment to say, I got it?
So I think for me, when I came across Christy, I think, Christy's been through its ups and downs, right? And when you're 175 years old, it's so important for you to be relevant. Otherwise, people will forget you.
Yeah.
You're not, every day there's a new brand coming up.
Yeah.
So I think the challenge that Christy at that time was posing to me is, how do I make this brand modern? How do I make it relevant? And I'd had a lot of experience when e-commerce and digital, and I was like, okay, I want to take this brand. How can we make it digital? How can we make it, for a lack of other words, cooler, for the younger customer? So that was the challenge, and I was like, this is so exciting. And that's when I really was like, I want to do this.
So you just took the leap.
Yes, I took the leap 3 years ago.
And what I've seen today, we've done a tour of this beautiful house. You've launched the brand in the Middle East, which is so exciting. What I loved is every room that has been, and I think we're going to kind of put this on the B-roll as well, is really show you that Christy is for everyone, for that really classic consumer, someone who's really feminine and just kind of wants that beautiful print. And then there's always this kind of more elevated version of, it's a little bit of something for everyone in everyone's home. Yeah. And I always say this, your home has to be your sanctuary. So
it does.
This has to be the investment. And so you really have been hands-on with your team to really work on signature designs that are really customized for only Christy. You won't find it anywhere else.
Yes, so actually all of our designs are hand painted in the UK for the bedding.
Yeah.
And so our design team sits in the UK, but we manufacture globally.
Yeah.
So Christy is made in Spain, Portugal, Turkey, India. So it's truly a global brand.
And what's your favorite part of the business?
My favorite part of the business, I think, is sales.
Sales?
Yeah, I think I love sales.
Well, you're now in Harrods, which is incredible.
Yeah.
It's the most iconic British department store in the world.
Yes, it is.
Was that really kind of one of your dreams to really be in these kind of key retail points?
So when I look at Harrods or Bloomingdale's, when I started, that was sort of the go-to goal post in a way, and it's a challenge. You have to keep pitching and pitching and pitching and being this is this brand, and and they have to see the journey with you. And I think we really had to open the door a little bit, and then. But it's been amazing. We're in 12 stores in Bloomingdale's all around America. And tapping into that customer set as well. So growing, learning every day.
And where do you see the next steps for Christy and of course for you as well?
I think for Christy, the next steps are we're expanding our merchandise mix. So we're getting into pajamas, loungewear, more into beach. So it becomes more of an everyday...
And a real lifestyle brand.
A real lifestyle brand versus just bed and bath. I think for me, I love Christy. So taking this to the next level, more geographies, growing top line as well. And I'm also in parallel exploring other aspects of the family business. So yeah.
So you have your hands full.
I have my hands full.
But I really loved, really when I look at your family, how your parents have encouraged two sisters to really expand, find their passion, and really be at helm of businesses. And it's so amazing to see just women being CEOs of these heritage brands and keeping the balance of heritage, because I think that's really important, of keeping the values of Christy as well as taking it to the next frontier.
Yeah. I think when you have so much heritage and history, you have to value it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good line. I love that. We're going to see you at Wimbledon this summer for
definitely.
sure. For sure. Congratulations. Welcome to the Middle East.
Rosemin.
We're so happy to have you guys here. You know, this is a place where you see a lot of cranes, and a lot of cranes mean a lot of new homes are coming here. So this is actually the perfect mix and the perfect brand to come to Dubai.
Thank you so much.
So welcome to you and your team. Thank you for watching. And thank you for joining us on Legacy Talks. This is actually one of the best interviews from a young, dynamic woman who is taking a heritage brand and taking it to the next frontier. So lessons learned, it's all about teamwork, focus, and balancing heritage as well as modernity. Thanks for watching.